This is VOA News. I'm Tommy McNeil. Mexican officials are putting a positive face on ongoing talks in Washington to avert U.S. tariffs, but President Trump has tweeted that more progress must be made on the immigration issue. AP correspondent Jackie Quinn.
After leaving the White House without a deal to block threatened tariffs, Mexico's Foreign Secretary Marcelo Ebrard says they'll keep talking with the Trump administration.
We are optimistic because we have a good meeting.
He says he didn't even get into the specifics of the tariffs with Vice President Pence and the Secretary of State because they're focusing on immigration and asylum seekers from Central America. One reporter asked Ebrard if he thinks President Trump understands economic policy in regard to tariffs.
I'm not the proper authority to judge something like that.
President Trump overseas tweeted progress is being made, but not nearly enough, and that the tariffs will likely go into effect Monday. Jackie Quinn, Washington.
About 1,000 Central American migrants were intercepted in Mexico near the border with Guatemala. AP's Ed Donahue.
The group included many women and children. Military police, immigration agents, and federal police blocked their advance, showing a tougher new stance. But this man says Mexican officials opened the door and allowed them through because they came calmly and did not come to cause problems. Later, unarmed agents wrestled some migrants who resisted to the ground, but the vast majority complied and boarded buses or immigration agency vans to an immigration detention center. This man says his group is from Honduras. He says life is very hard in Honduras. Many say they were getting away from gang violence. I'm Ed Donahue.
The UN humanitarian chief appealed Wednesday for urgently needed funding to prevent wide-scale hunger in the Horn of Africa after another difficult rainy season. This is VOA News. The day before D-Day's 75th anniversary, those who took part in the invasion on the French coast were honored in southern England. AP correspondent Sagar Magani.
Near where thousands of troops launched the invasion, it was an international celebration, world leaders marking the start of Europe's liberation from the Nazis. Queen Elizabeth was a mechanic in the war and said many thought D-Day's 60th anniversary commemoration might be the last one.
But the wartime generation, my generation, is resilient.
An unusually personal note from the Queen, who said thank you to a crowd including several hundred World War II veterans. The number of D-Day vets is dwindling, and 94-year-old Donald Hitchcock says it's on each one to keep the memories going.
Let us live on, because lest we forget, we will not forget.
I'm Sagar Magani.
As social media companies face mounting criticism that their platforms foster extremism, YouTube is tightening its hate speech policies. More from AP correspondent Jennifer King.
YouTube says they're changing their hate speech policies. They're going to prohibit more kinds of videos, including those with white supremacist and neo-Nazi content. They're also removing videos that deny certain events took place, like the Holocaust or the Sandy Hook school shooting. The company says they're prohibiting videos that allege any group is superior to justify discrimination, segregation, or exclusion. They'll be prohibiting videos that promote violence or hatred. Thousands of videos will be removed under the new rules. YouTube says the new policies will take effect immediately. I'm Jennifer King.
And half the American adults say fake news is a bigger problem than racism, terrorism, or climate change. That's according to a new survey. AP's Shelley Adler.
It's a survey from the Pew Research Center, and it says a majority of Americans believe journalists have the responsibility for fixing the misinformation problem. Pew also found that differences in political affiliation are a major factor in how people think about fake news. Republicans are more likely than Democrats to see made-up information and think it's a big problem. They will also blame journalists for it. Shelley Adler, Washington.
A U.S. citizen who leaked the names of more than 14,000 HIV-positive people in Singapore has been found guilty by a U.S. court of illegally transferring personal data and threatening the Singapore government. Singapore deported Mickey Ferrara Broches last year after convicting him of numerous drug-related and fraud offenses, including lying about his own HIV status. Find more at voanews.com. I'm Tommy McNeil, VOA News.